Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us today on ClueCon Weekly. So today I'm going to jump into my announcements, and then we are going to go hop over to Brian West and ask him a few questions about FreeSWITCH, and then we are going to introduce Dan Bogos from ItzyCom. So before we do all that, I just wanted to remind you all to show up on August 5th in Chicago at ClueCon for the Coder Games. This year is going to be a lot of fun. We have a lot of different challenges for all different skill sets. You can build a self-driving car, you can make a catapult, and we'll have our signal wire challenge as well, which will give you a chance to play around with our APIs and build something really cool and win awesome prizes while you're doing it. We also have a new game show this year, and the fun part is that everybody can participate. So anybody in Lucerne will be able to participate in this game show and give you a chance to win a limited edition prize. Plus, it's just going to be a lot of fun, so I'm really looking forward to that. If you haven't registered yet, I would register for ClueCon as soon as possible because it is only in less than 3 weeks. Where does the time go? I don't know. It flies by. But ClueCon, everybody, is in less than 3 weeks. So if you haven't registered yet, make sure to do that. And even if you have, go check out our website and take a look at all of the qualified speakers we're going to be having this year. David Duffett is coming. Jonathan Rosenberg, who's the co-inventor of SIP, is coming. And a lot more people who have a lot of interesting things to say. So visit our speakers page to find out who you can catch at ClueCon. And of course, as always, the original FreeSWITCH team, the squad, will be there to let everybody know what's going on, what's new with the FreeSWITCH open source project, as well as some updates about SignalWire and what's been going on with that. And of course, it's a great opportunity just to chat with them and ask them any questions you have about FreeSWITCH, bounce ideas, and all of that ClueCon goodness. We also have brand new networking events this year. So the Wednesday of ClueCon, Weave has sponsored an event at Land and Sea, and that's a really cool, fun, casual networking event with a lot of games, a lot of drinks, and of course, Mario Kart. And I've been practicing, so good luck trying to beat me at the Weave Land and Sea party. We also have the Voice Tub Boat Cruise on Thursday, which is super popular. It's a lot of fun because you get to just chill with a cocktail in your hand, you're on Lake Michigan, and you get to watch the beautiful sunset over the Chicago skyline. And that's one of my favorite parts of ClueCon. It's right at the end, so you get a chance to unwind and kind of just chat with all the people you met throughout the week. And then the Monday of ClueCon, the very first day of ClueCon, is at the restaurant Last Resort, and that is sponsored by FlowRoute. And it is so much fun because, you know, we all get to eat together as a ClueCon family, and the servers are hilarious. They're so sassy. It's a lot of fun. Their roast game is on point. So it's one of those themed restaurants where the servers get to be, you know, a little rude, a little funny, but nothing too mean. It's all in good fun, and it's super popular. So thank you to all of our sponsors for making these networking events possible. And that's all the announcements I have for now. So before we introduce Dan, let's go over and ask Brian our questions about FreeSWITCH.
Bob from the community asks, what is a good, reliable SIP trunking provider in North America? Well, it's good that he asked that because SignalWire has SIP trunking available. And if you are running FreeSWITCH 1.185 or higher, there's mod SignalWire. It will allow you to register your FreeSWITCH into the SignalWire portal and automatically sends the gateway configuration down to your FreeSWITCH instance. If you want to manually configure that, you can as well. You can go to signalwire.com and sign up for an account, and then click the SIP endpoint section in the portal and start setting up an endpoint. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact support at signalwire.com.
Hey, Dan, how you doing today?
Yes, hi. I'm doing fine. How about you?
I'm doing well, thanks. We're getting ready for ClueCon. Are you getting ready?
Yeah, of course. I'm all excited. I booked everything. I'm all prepared. So just
Perfect. So what have you got planned for us today?
so I prepared since you know the things I tend to do like pretty heavy presentations. I decided that I tried also the other way around. In order to attract more community, I decided to do a simple tutorial regarding integrating FreeSWITCH and CGRateS together. So like how to install and make them communicating together, and maybe some tips regarding how they communicate so people understand how the binding is done and how all the magic works. So some light content regarding this like interaction.
That's great. Well, I'm sure all of our community members will appreciate your tutorial. So why don't we get into it?
Okay. So for those of you not knowing us yet, we are a company located in Germany. We got over 11 years of experience with VoIP solutions. We did both wholesale as well as retail. And we kind of understand by now the real-time processing constraints and also what a live system outage is. So we try our best to avoid that. And knowing who we are, you will also understand how we came up to build CGRateS. So CGRateS came up out of our need of providing a professional billing solution to our customers. We used to offer VoIP platforms to operators. And they were in need of an open source solution also for the billing side. We tried to shop around. We could not find one which was meeting our expectations and requirements. And then we decided to build one ourselves. Of course, we didn't know at the beginning what we are getting into. And all these things were happening sometimes in 2010, so about 9 years ago. And this is where CGRateS was born. And what is CGRateS? It's kind of mixture of terms. So we call it real-time enterprise billing suite. So because real-time, of course, it's what we needed to offer to our customers, a real-time solution. And then enterprise, because they needed to have something which is customizable. So for each environment should have been maybe should work differently, so it's very customizable. And then billing, because this is what we started with, billing. And then suite, because it's a set, it's more like a framework, so it's a set of services which you can use to combine and get all sort of functionality out. It's pluggable into existing infrastructure, so your customers should not be forced to change their infrastructure. It's able to accommodate new components into an operator network. For example, if you want to add a new communication switch or SMS service, and it's non-intrusive into existing setups, so should not force you routing the calls through our server. It should just exchange information with your one. It's all open source. The full sources are available on GitHub. We don't have any add-ons in private repositories. There were customers asking that. No, we don't have. And we really have consideration for community contributions. So we respect our community, and we guide ourselves through them most of the times. It's a software performance oriented. So we have a built-in advanced caching system, which we wrote. It's transactional. It supports LRU, least record used, TTL for automatically expiring records in the cache. And all we do is asynchronous. So this is where the performance comes out also. And we use microthreads for that. Microthreads are having the advantage of being more scalable than system threads. You can use millions effectively of microthreads. They are some virtual threads. So it's a project test driven. So most of the time we build test before functionality, and we stopped counting when at about 5,000 tests for our as part of our test suite. We have a modular architecture, so it's cloud ready, microservices, all these buzzwords, we have them in. We have a rich set of RPC APIs. Everything what we do is via APIs. We have no web interface. And that's also with a purpose in mind, is because our customers, mostly they want to put their own fingerprint on the solution. So they want to have their own interface. They are investors. They like to give out the feeling that they own the solution. It's also easy to enhance our software by rewriting specific components. So you don't like something what we wrote, you simply replace the module or the service completely. We are an online offline charging system. So regarding features, you can call us both. We support multi-tenancy from day one. We have built-in rating engine. This was actually the first feature which we built in, the rating engine. We support derived charging. This derived charging is the ability to fork a CDR or a session into multiples, like virtuals. So you can bill together with your customer. You can also bill the price which your supplier is charging you, or you want to also bill the price which your distributor needs to pay you. So all these chains, you can multiply a CDR into any number of CDRs you like. Account balances management with bundles. You can get here any number of accounts with any number of balances behind. So you can combine data, SMS, calls, all this fancy stuff which the mobile operators are doing, since the initial market for us was MVNOs, and later we came up to tier 1 operators as well. Then session or event charging in real time with balance reservation and refunds, CDR logging with support for interim records, fraud detection, which is a sensitive topic, with automatic mitigation. So the system will detect and, for example, disable accounts even when you sleep. LCR, we have an advanced LCR built in. It supports quality of service based routing. It supports bundles. So if you get from your suppliers a bundle of minutes, the LCR can take that into consideration. Call statistics with pattern monitoring. You can get all this ASR ACD in real time for any number of particularities. They are all in memory, so they are there when you need them. You don't need to build them up. They are there in memory. They are also backed up, so if you restart the server will pick them up again. Diameter implementation, because we are in also 4G networks. Radius also, the previous version with process templates. So we are either you do diameter or radius. We are standard agnostic, so you can support any interface you like. Recently, we have also built, we can function as an Enum server. So you can have access to this part as well. Resource allocation controllers, so you monitor the channels for your customers, suppliers at different time of day or different time slots and so on. We have built-in high availability and dynamic partitioning support, so you can use our load balancer to increase your network if you need more processing power or more flexibility in architecting your network. And we consider ourselves agile in developing new features. We This is a bit of history of our code evolution. So in 2013, it was actually the first ClueCon for us. And since 2013, we have evolved considerably and constant. So if you look at our activity, you won't find any month without activity. And it's sometimes pretty serious, reaching more than 250 commits a month in peak times. So regarding architecture, you can see some agents translating or communicating with outside environment. This being a hot topic, FreeSWITCH here. We have our own agent. This was actually our first agent which we built in CGRateS, talking to FreeSWITCH and converting messages between FreeSWITCH and CGRateS internally to our session management and then to our CDR server and other modules with online exports of the CDR in real time, for example. So it looks like the CDRs are coming from FreeSWITCH in real time already rated, just because we use what we call rating queues. So we can push the CDRs in real time as they show up from FreeSWITCH already rated. And for that, we have a number of different interfaces here, including Amazon XQS and other interfaces. Recently, we have also added support for Kafka and other queuing mechanisms. We also support processing any type of CDRs from CSV, XML, fixed bit value generically. So it doesn't have to be a real-time implementation. We can also push, for example, CDRs coming from suppliers. We can push them in and consume and build them accordingly. So before going into questions, or maybe you have questions in between, before I show you the tutorial which I prepared for you today, do you have any kind of questions for me?
I actually do have a question. In your previous slide, you showed us how the code has grown through and things have continued to grow. And you said this was at 2013, right? After you went to your first ClueCon?
Yeah, that's correct.
Would you say that going to ClueCon helped with this growth?
Yes, of course. So going to ClueCon, I think it's a major part in exposing to community. So I think you have a lot of audience in the community, and exposing an open source project there, I think it's a very good thing. It's a positive thing because you get a lot of coverage and a lot of marketing as well. So I consider a minimum of investment for me to come to talk about my project on ClueCon with maximum outcome from there. I think it's a very good thing there. And of course, the environment, the people you meet there, it's very high level, and I simply enjoy coming there every year.
It's a unique experience, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, that's definitely. But
Okay. Well,
it's like a kind of a virus. Once you come, then you always come back.
that's a good way to describe it. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we're ready for your demo.
Okay, let's see how this works, because I have just built the package like a few minutes ago, and I hope this will work without too much surprises. Okay, so I'll research, install, restore. Okay, so I'm powering on my virtual machine, and I have brought it to a point where I have only installed FreeSWITCH on it in order for you to see the Let me see how I can. Okay, so I'll start now connecting to the tutorial box.
Okay.
So my CGRateS is not yet installed. What I have is FreeSWITCH installed. So I stop FreeSWITCH completely. I can. Okay, so I stopped it, and now, so the reason I installed, we can see how I did the installation of FreeSWITCH. So exactly like in your book, I downloaded your key. I have added your Debian sources to my local apt sources in my laptop, and then I simply installed FreeSWITCH Meta All. So no magic here, is the standard procedure. I didn't want to change nothing, so you see how simple it is to get the two systems together. So the reason I did that previously is that installing FreeSWITCH takes a bit of time, and I'm sure your community already know how to install FreeSWITCH. So I said I skip this step, and then I'll show you the CGRateS part.
Okay.
Okay, so in order to install CGRateS, we are providing a Debian package. For the moment, it's a manual Debian package, which you can get from here. So at this address, cgrates.org TMP package, you can get the deb. In the next days, we will have a procedure similar to yours. So we will also put up an apt repository. We had one, but we had a server crash and we lost that. So we are planning to put back the app server. But in the meantime, Debian should do just fine. It's as directly out of the package is as easy as installing out of apt. So just get the package from our published source, and then you execute one command, dpkg -i for installing the package. And in, I think, less than 10 seconds, CGRateS is also installed. Wow. By default, it starts. And you see, in this case, it already started, but I'll stop it because we need to start it with FreeSWITCH compatible configuration. So what we'll do for that, first we go into USR share CGRateS tutorial, because we are providing already pre-configured configuration files, both for FreeSWITCH as well as for CGRateS. So first we go to tutorials, FreeSWITCH FSOC for connecting with event socket between the two systems. And we configure first the FreeSWITCH. So I need to look up my IP address because I'm in a virtual environment. I cannot detect properly my IP address because I have some NAT here, which I cannot access from my host. So I have added a local accessible host-only IP address, which I need to put in FreeSWITCH. So this 115 is my IP address, which I need to add to the vars. So I'll configure it here. And then from that moment, I'll use server IP everywhere in my configs. There are two places where you need to configure the server IP for, it's in the C profiles internal in our case in tutorial. So you see we put here the RTP IP and SIP IP. and in JSON CDR as well, because we will use, in order to get the CDRs in real time, we will use JSON CDR for that. So the idea is that CGRateS will communicate with FreeSWITCH over event socket for real-time events. And in order to have like accurate billing, we will not bill out of events. We will just deduct and take all the balance and do balance reservation and such in real time out of events. But the end CDR will still come via your classical module, mod JSON CDR. And for that, we will, and after that, we will bill that CDR. We will merge it with what we have built in real time out of events. But just for security, if for some reason something happens with the events, we still have the CDR and we can redo the billing out of that. So that's about FreeSWITCH. If we go in it, we have here a script to start FreeSWITCH. So we look at, we can see that our internal interface was correctly bounded to the IP address which we have, which we wanted. And then now we need to go and configure CGRateS. So in the etc CGRateS folder, so again in tutorial fs fsoc and then CGRateS etc CGRateS, all these files are published on our GitHub, so they can be always checked there. You will find the configuration for CGRateS, and this is the node ID CGR FreeSWITCH just to see proper logging. We have configured a password for our storage, which is a MySQL by default. And we start a scheduler, which will be able to load accounts and also reset them at regular intervals. It can also manage subscriptions. So if you have users buying DIDs, the scheduler, it's able to reset them regularly and stuff like that. Then we start our rating components, CDR server component, charger in order to do this multiple billing on CDRs. And then sessions is the component which puts all together and builds up sessions. And the FreeSWITCH agent, which is the component which talks to FreeSWITCH. And here is where we tell also how to reconnect, to also tell the password and connectivity to sessions and stuff like that. So attributes, it's also enabled in order to do aliasing, and suppliers in order to do LCR thresholds to manage fraud stats for real-time stats. So we have just started some basic modules here, services, and this is where you can control them. So that's the CGRateS configuration file. That's all one JSON file. You can also split it into multiple smaller JSON blobs. It's the same concept as behind your XML directory. So XML configuration. So in this regard, they are compatible. It's just that you are using XML, we are using JSON. So we go to init, and also before starting CGRateS, our CGRateS needs to know, since it works with raw objects or serialized objects, it needs to know the version of the objects which it has. So for that, we need to run the migrator tool, which will set the versions. And this happens only first time when you install CGRateS. So for that, I'll I'll run the migrator with config path. Before the migration, we need to install the databases. Sorry about that. So apt get install Redis. We use Redis server for online database, so for storing accounts and everything which needs to be fast. And then we use MySQL server for storing the CDRs, because CDRs will database will get large. The DataDB online database, it doesn't have to be that big, so it can fit only in memory, but the one of CDRs, it's bigger. So I'm installing quickly Redis and MySQL. This is also a fast procedure. After I install the Redis, for Redis there is no schema necessary. For MySQL we need to set the schema. We provide scripts for that as well. So I'll show you in a moment. Hopefully. Okay, so it's done. Then if we go to share CGRateS storage MySQL root, this is just some sample password which we do, and the database is successfully set up. And now we run the migrator. We need to also tell the config path where all the database is. So we'll do this here. etc CGRateS. And the migrator should have set now everything. So we go now to the init folder, or execute directly the init script. Oops. So we see that CGRateS was also started, and it's the instance which we have set up. So everything it's running since. This is of course my local time here in Europe, and it's also about right. You can also see the version. It's the latest master of tonight. So we should be up to date. And there is one more thing which I want to show you. So both software are now installed and running. And if we go to FreeSWITCH, we can see the dial plan which is necessary for working with CGRateS. And for doing that, you need to put some variables, and that's the CGR notify, which we set when we do the authorization. So this one, when this one is empty, it means CGRateS was not yet involved in the call setup. So we park the call, and once the CGRateS decides about authorization, we'll set up CGR notify, and then it will transfer the call back into the dial plan. So it will then match other options here, and in case of being able to call, we will not match any errors before, and then we are considered that we are good to go. So just a short demo. I'll fire up my Jitsi. I hope you are able to since your audience will for sure understand that I need ngrep. Ngrep is my favorite tool for debugging. and especially when working with FreeSWITCH. So we see CGRateS from time to time trying to synchronize with FreeSWITCH with the empty or active channels. And for the moment, it tries every X seconds. And I'll fire up now my Jitsi, configure the accounts there. And I'll just put 1001 and 1002. These accounts you can find as directory. You can find them configured here by us. So all we did compared to your default installation was adding here some variables, request type, which is a prepaid in case of 1001, CGR flags, which enables or disables some modules on our side, and some other variables which can be used with CGRateS. So that's all you need to do in at user side. And then again, the ngrep. I'll try a call from user 1001, which is a prepaid user, to user 1002. And as soon as I try, the call fails. And that's because we can see here, CGRateS is passing the message back to the, it's passing an error to the FreeSWITCH. And that's because we did not add any data to CGRateS. So the CGRateS does not recognize the user. If we go to, we also provide some USR predefined data for that. So USR shares CGRateS, and then to tariff plan. So now I have loaded the accounts and also tariff plans and stuff. So you have already all the data which you need to test there. And if I dial now again, 1000, then the call connects now. You can see the call starts and it's no problem with that. And also active calls, it's received back from show channels is received back from FreeSWITCH. When I hang up, I also see all the data properly flowing. Channels is disconnected. And if I go now to MySQL, and select, I can see my CDR being properly built. So the cost is there, and also it specifies everything, what it built and why. So all this integration worked properly. Okay, so I think in order to keep it short, I better stop here, because otherwise I can go on full night.
We could always do a part 2.
Yeah. So did I stop sharing? Okay.
There we go.
Because I understood I have only half an hour, because I like to talk sometimes, so you
Well,
cannot stop me easy.
the things you talk about are interesting. So
Thank you.
there's always that.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much for coming on. I do have just a couple of questions for you. Did you say you have a new version coming out in the next few days?
Well, we plan a release in the, I don't know, I hope maybe to be ready for ClueCon. This will be really great for us, because we always, if you look back in up to 2015, we were like all the time trying to release by the time of the ClueCon. So I hope we'll have a release for ClueCon.
That would be great. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be proud to announce it there. So.
Yeah. So is there anything specific you're looking forward to when you come to ClueCon this year?
Well, I for sure I'll be looking for the presentations, and I particularly love the technical ones.
Mhm.
So less marketing, more substance.
Yep.
And yeah, because I'm a geek, so what can I do? And yeah, then of course the social events. Oh my god. And social events, especially in Chicago, these are really great.
It is.
So
And I think the
I'm
weather's
also,
supposed to be beautiful too. So that's a
yeah,
plus.
August in Chicago, and meeting all the people, it's very great. So I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to that.
Good. We're looking forward to seeing you. It's always great to catch up with friends, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, thank you again for coming on today. Thank you for the demo. Thank you for the slides. Thank you just for being you. And we'll see you
Thank
at
you very
ClueCon.
much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Thanks for watching ClueCon Weekly.
Don't forget to give this video a like and a subscribe, and while you're at it, make sure to go and follow all of our other social media channels.
We'll see you right here next week, same time, same place. And catch you at ClueCon.